This is the Infinity Summit Group. Truth, passion, success.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Infinity Summit Group podcast. Today is August 22nd. Yeah, August 22nd, 2022. I am Logan.
Jesse.
Noah.
Xavier.
And today we are having a special guest on, Noah Kelsch.
Hello.
So, yeah.
Noah
thank you for
Kelsch
coming on.
Sr.
Noah Kelsch Sr., yes.
Grandpa.
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 Yeah, recently a grandpa.
Yep.
Congrats
Official.
on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How's it been?
Fantastic.
Being on the other side of watching your kids take care of their kids now?
It's incredible in multiple aspects. First of all, just super proud watching Noah and Tammy take care of a baby. And
Fucking hell.
and then I gotta fix this thing. This thing's sagging.
Do you want to wait?
No, we're good. And then getting to hang out with the Luna baby as much as we do. It's a ton of fun. Get to hang out with her, hold her, just play with her, do whatever, and then as soon as she starts crying or fussing, then you just pass her back to mom and dad, and
Yeah.
or whenever there's a dirty diaper involved, it's like,
I don't want to change this one.
you got a package for mom and dad.
Surprise.
Well, that's awesome.
I imagine it's quite enjoyable.
It has been fun to watch.
Yeah.
But she cries in excess, especially
yeah.
at nighttime in my room. Right across.
Yeah, parenthood is not for wimps,
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
but it is the most rewarding thing you could ever do.
I
Yeah,
can
I'm
agree with
excited.
that. When I just started. Definitely. Change your whole everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another one of those things that, it doesn't matter how many books you read, doesn't matter how much advice you get, nothing will ever prepare you for the real thing.
Fuck no. Marriage and having kids, each of those individually, nothing can prep you for.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
Yep.
Yeah.
And amazing.
Yep. Some of the most challenging and definitely the most rewarding events.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
And how old is she now? Is she 2
She's-
months or a month?
She's close. She's 7 weeks Friday, I think. So almost 2 months.
Time flies by.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then in other news, you're almost a week off nicotine.
Yeah. Yeah.
How's that going for you this time?
I still want to rip people's heads off, but it's way not as bad. So it's good.
After week 2, it's less bad. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What's different about this time? Because I know
I
you.
threw up.
Okay, but
Overdid it and puked.
Like that's literally it.
why? What motivated you to want to
Oh,
suck enough down to throw up?
yeah, because number one, I just know it doesn't treat my body well. But number two, I don't want to rely on that for my happiness. But the biggest one is I'm going to get a term life policy, and I didn't want to pay the extra fee for a nicotine rating. So if I'm off it for a year, then I don't have to pay the extra fee. And so it's a perfect reason to stop. And then after that, I just won't pick it up.
Yeah.
I was going to say continuing to be off it is essential because if you are off it to get the policy and then get back on it, that's insurance fraud. So,
Oh, that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not just going to be like, oh, a year? Let's go down a pack of stickies.
I mean, why would you anyway? It's a lot of work to get off and going right back to the same thing, which just
That's what I'm
it's right
saying.
back down the hill.
Yeah. It's expensive too, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
my
it's
health.
fucking hell.
yeah, it's expensive.
It's like an extra grocery bill.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Crikey.
Easily. You could easily sink a couple hundred a month
Yeesh.
Yeah, some of the,
with the vapes and the Zen if you're doing both. Like,
yeah.
I happen to be a victim.
Some of the people I know who smoke cigarettes, I think the packs are like between $8 and $11 per pack.
Really?
Nowadays. It's like, and you get 20 cigarettes, if that.
I met with somebody the other day, and they said, yeah, I smoke about a pack a day. I think I'm about what, $300 a month.
Easy. Yeah.
And no, hang on a minute.
Oh.
Because I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's do the math real quick. Because I'm like, that's not adding up. So did the math on it, and he's like, oh, that's a lot.
$500 a month.
I think it was like 700.
Jesus Christ.
Throw up in my mouth.
Well, because he said I smoke a pack a day, and they're X amount per pack. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but I times it out because I'm like, wait a minute, if he's smoking a pack a day, the figure he told me would only get him 10 days. Mm-hmm. So it was like 3 times that.
Jesus Christ. It's a whole rent bill.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
damn.
That's crazy. And then if you tack on alcohol on top of that, because those two go hand in hand,
Right.
that's even up in the price.
Yeah.
Wow, that's gnarly.
Yeah. Do they smoke at the bar?
Everyone smokes at the bar,
Yeah.
pretty much.
So
I'd say about 70% of the staff. Yeah.
Like inside?
No.
Oh,
We don't allow
like
smoking
what?
inside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was asking. If it,
Okay.
if the patrons smoke at the bar.
No, we're not allowed to at all.
Okay.
They changed it because we had a pregnant girl bartending for us, and then the owner was like, "Yeah, no more smoking at all." Period.
Really?
In the bar. So, yeah.
Is it? Do you like that or?
I love it. That's the reason I would never move to Vegas and like bartend in a casino. Smelling cigarettes all day is disgusting.
Yeah.
It's
Terrible.
really gross, and it reminds you. I don't know. Just, you feel dirty and like you're around dirty people constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Blech.
I don't want to talk about work. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoy that we can't smoke in there. I think it's good.
Yeah. Cool.
Addiction is just too pricey to fucking live.
Well, and I mean, I've talked to you guys about this multiple times, but just take inventory. What's control or who's controlling who?
Yeah, exactly. Arc. Take it over again.
So that's why, that's why I don't even like caffeine, because you drink coffee, or I drink coffee for days in a row, and then try to go off it and I get a headache, and that's just bullshit.
Oh shit.
I'm absolutely
Miserable.
addicted to caffeine.
Caffeine is so easy to get off of, though.
Yeah, it's not too
Just
bad.
a headache for a day, like God.
It's miserable.
I'll take that.
Stupid.
Can I ask you, have you ever had like a vice, even in your younger years, that you had to like kind of try to get off of and like put effort into working to get off of it because it was tough? You know what I mean?
No.
Just always been like, all right, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Pretty much. I used to smoke when I drank when I was a lot younger. Not even the age that I was supposed to be drinking or smoking, but I would, I mean, who doesn't do it? So I would drink, and then I would only smoke when I drank, and then one time I had a cigarette when I wasn't drinking. We were just hanging out, and I had a smoke, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. I will never be a slave to this bitch. Put it out. That was the last cigarette I've ever had.
Wow.
I think I was 16.
Whoa, that's young.
Yeah.
I mean, to quit that stuff.
Maybe 17. But it was like, I will never be subject to this piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then with tobacco, chewing tobacco, hung out with a lot of people who chewed all the time. And same thing. They're just like, having the nicky fits or whatever. And I saw it, and I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. So I was drinking one night, and I was like, I will cure myself right here and now from ever wanting that, because it smelled good to me. So went and bought a can, put a big old chunk in my lip till I started getting sick, spit that one out, put another one in, and ended up throwing my guts up, but I have never wanted it.
That's the way to do it, ladies and
Just
gentlemen. Just do it.
It's, yeah. And coffee. So coffee, I love coffee. I love coffee. I just don't like caffeine.
God, do you drink decaf then?
No, because I can still feel the caffeine. I will have coffee occasionally, but I don't ever drink it more than 2 days in a row, because if I do, I know I'm going to have a headache.
Just do tea. You could.
Same
It's
thing.
not the same.
It still has caffeine too. A lot of tea.
The point is, if I could get coffee that doesn't have caffeine,
Yeah.
I love coffee.
Look, Dad, make a sparkling water that's coffee flavored.
Oh no.
Then you get the hint of coffee,
That
the
sounds
flavor of like you're next to someone drinking coffee, and you'll be satisfied.
So I've
And you'll make
tried a lot
money.
of decafs. I've tried a lot of decafs, and I've never found one that tastes like coffee to me. It always tastes chemically.
Coffee's ass. Just straight up gross.
I don't like it either.
Just gotta do some research into what the good decafs are.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sapphire probably knows.
Well, I've heard a lot of people, oh, this is the best one. This tastes exactly like coffee. And taste it like, no, it doesn't. No.
It's like vaping non-nic vape juice. You're just like, wow, this doesn't even taste like a vape.
Yeah.
Doesn't hit the spot.
Yeah. So I actually drink. I put a couple of teaspoons of, or about a tablespoon of vinegar and, what else? Lemon juice. Lemon.
Which is fucking appalling, by the way. I drank
Okay.
it for like a week straight.
It's
and it was-
definitely an acquired taste.
I
What is
didn't
it again?
acquire the taste.
It's a half a lemon
Okay.
and a tablespoon of vinegar,
Oh.
apple cider vinegar,
Look, if
And,
you wouldn't have punished us
and warm water.
with vinegar, we might have liked it.
Facts.
As
I
adults.
don't know.
Straight up.
I don't know.
What if you
Vinegar
tried
is
it?
appalling.
What if you tried it with honey? Like
Bro,
put a ton of honey to
That's
balance out the vinegar.
that's actually really good.
Yeah, I like lemon and honey water. I drink
look, man,
that,
if you
like,
put
warm all
honey
the
in
time.
shit, is it gonna taste better? No,
Yes.
it's still gonna taste like shit with honey.
with a hint of honey. Facts. Vinegar's terrible. Holy hell, can't not do it.
It is. I used to gag every time I smelled it.
But you'd give it to us kids. What the fuck
Here,
is
drink
this?
this.
Hey,
bro,
it's better than soap.
yeah,
I don't know.
you be saying some shit, you get some vinegar, dog.
Yeah.
Not soap.
Yeah, don't be naughty.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Don't be saying swear words.
Shit.
Give them some cilantro. That shit tastes like soap anyway.
Oh, I love cilantro.
Me too.
Love it.
Give it to me, I'll chow it.
No, it's definitely an acquired taste, but I actually enjoy it. And the reason I started on that, I was actually in Colorado. We were on a retreat, and I got a sick stomach. Like I don't know. It was weird. Like just hurt bad, and didn't know what the heck to do for it. Tried about everything that I could think of, and nothing was working. And asked my angels and guides, hey, what would assist my stomach, my digestive system, to get it back on track? And vinegar, and like a hot lemon vinegar drink, and sauerkraut came to mind, and it was like, okay. So I went for it, and geez, that was quite a few years ago, but I've been drinking it ever since.
You followed the omens.
Yes.
Yeah. So I actually drink it specifically for digestion.
Okay.
It's good for digestion.
You know what else is good for is sore muscles when you're working out.
What, sore muscles?
Yeah, that's when I used to take it, is when I was working out, and I'd drink it, have a tablespoon or two, and yeah, it did really good.
Of vinegar water?
Just vinegar. Just
straight?
pour it in a tablespoon.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
It was.
It's actually you hate
terrible.
yourself.
But I'd rather that than act like I'm enjoying a full-ass cup of it.
I
With
actually
the
do
lemon
enjoy it.
and the hot water. Ah. I want a refund.
No, buying what I'm selling.
Yeah, no.
Look, I certainly don't enjoy it as much as a cup of coffee.
Okay, all right.
Okay. but it's better than just warm water.
I beg to differ.
I don't know.
All right.
Look.
To each their own. How
Look,
about
if
that?
you put honey in warm water or honey in vinegar water, which one's going to taste better?
I don't like honey in either.
All right. There you go. You heard it here first, folks. Honey's terrible.
No, yeah, it has its place, but I'm not real big on sweet drinks.
On toast.
You
No.
could just go milk a chocolate cow.
Chocolate rain.
Get some chalky milk, dog. All right, let's
So is that like an Angus?
bring it back.
Yeah, or sirloin.
Bro, you got to
Sir.
milk them Scotland cows, the real hairy ones that are all brown.
Are you
Is
talking about yaks?
is that a chocolate cow?
Yeah.
Chocolate milk.
And now we can bring it to our original topic for the night.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, so this isn't about random thoughts?
Well, it was.
Well,
you know, here it
a
is
little
I
off
thought we were
topic.
talking about investing in yourself, in your body, and your health.
Right.
with apple cider vinegar.
The apple cider
Cider
vinegar.
vinegar. There we go.
Yep. Some investments are bad investments. You just got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Oh, I hit a deer.
oh.
Yeah, how was
All right,
that?
we can talk about that.
It was weird. But
It's not a deer anymore. It's called venison now.
no, the fucker jumped up and ran off, dude. Limping, but it ran off, and I wasn't going to chase it. Either way, fucked up my car. Now Jesse's shop is going to fix it tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Well, the estimate.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
I'll
okay.
take it in tomorrow.
Heck
Cool.
yeah.
But yeah,
Should we take bets on the damage? I'll bet you like 2K. If you need to replace your hood, which you might be close to
Hood
like
for-
3 or 4.
Oh, hood
Dude,
is for
that hood
sure.
is
you got to
fuck.
replace the hood for sure.
and the front
Damn,
bumper.
you can't just like bend that shit out.
If you want it to look shitty, you
No.
can take that in appearance allowance. That's what we did with my car when I got in a car accident. You take an appearance allowance, and I just had Uncle Monty pulled out so everything was straight, nothing was scraping. Just drove the wrecked car.
Hmm.
And then you get to keep whatever they'd pay to repair it.
Oh. Rubber.
I want it fixed,
All right.
so when I sell it, then it doesn't be fucked up.
It's true, and the fact that you didn't report it means it still has a clean title.
Yeah, unless insurance puts it on for some reason.
Oh, fuck, you're
Well, it'll still have. Well, how does
Will it
that
be
work?
a salvage title?
No, it won't be a salvage title because
Because it wasn't totaled. Okay.
So it'll still be. I mean, it'll
Just
have an accident.
One
but-
accident.
Yeah.
Hit deer.
Yeah.
Frame
I don't
okay.
Well, it didn't do any. I wouldn't imagine it did any
It was
frame
cosmetic.
damage.
I don't know. It was fucking thick.
Right.
Well,
but
we can't
but
lift
it-
up in the
It
hood.
didn't even set off your airbags and.
Yeah, if
I
it would
still
have done
don't
that,
know
that
why
totals the car.
fuck.
Hmm.
Airbags total the car.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Not all the time?
Mm-hmm. We
What?
fixed a few cars that the airbags have gone off.
Shit. Never mind. The more you know.
Wait, you can't just stuff them back in?
No.
Reload
That's
the
always how I
chemical
thought it worked. I
cartridge.
didn't know.
No,
Yeah.
it's a whole big thing, and it tears up the inside of your car. It breaks all the plastic and everything.
Oh, that's good to
All the
know.
trim.
Yeah, probably
Trash
probably
cars.
depends on how
Fuck.
Expensive.
expensive the car is.
Yeah, it's definitely more expensive cars that get fixed, but you can keep a car after the airbags deploy.
Mm. Do you guys do all makes, models, everything?
Uh-huh. Well, not like Teslas. You can't do Teslas, but everything else, yeah.
Like Corvettes, can you do?
We've done a few Corvettes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And Mercedes Benz, they're nice.
Yeah, I don't like doing expensive cars because they're picky, and we don't.
Oh, I'd be damn picky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just when they're picky, we don't make money because we do it good enough that you're not going to notice, but people that pay attention to their cars more. And then
Super
we get
nitpicky.
paid for volume, not really per car, so it's
So you wouldn't want me as a customer?
probably not. No.
Yeah, you've seen my car, right?
Well-
I mean, like how we keep them.
Mhm. And that's not like we have people like that, but a lot of the issue is people. First, they expect more than gets getting fixed a lot of the time because our
Mm,
estimators are
okay.
very good at explaining that,
Right.
and they a lot of people, even when they take good care of their car, it's the first time that they're actually taking a really good look at their car.
Oh, got it.
So they think things are wrong, but it was there before.
Right.
Like
that makes
if-
sense.
It's
like
the
bumpers and quarter panels, they don't match because it's metal and plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And people, they don't notice that until it's getting replaced. So even on brand new cars, it looks bad. But now they're looking at it, so now we got to try and figure out a way to make that match, even though it's the two different materials, and just the metal, the metallics, and the paint don't lay right because they're
Sure.
different. That's the biggest issue is people expect. Well, when you get it looking that good, like factory, it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
So it depends on the people.
Okay.
Because, yeah, we've had people complain about stuff and had to take them to the dealer to show them what the new cars look like.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Bro, you just got to lower their expectations from the start. Like, this will look
Yeah,
like shit.
Yeah, why isn't the estimator, like, explaining that to them?
Yeah,
They're
like,
bad at their job. I don't know.
They look good as shit though.
Most of the time they look fine.
Like,
People just
yeah.
find something wrong with them.
But it seems like the estimator would be, like, taking care of all that.
They're supposed to.
or tell them, hey, it's psychological that you haven't looked at your car this good. Just know that you'll probably notice things you didn't see before.
Well, the estimator is kind of like the salesman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what he is.
And the salesman has got to set expectations.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to anticipate issues and bring it up beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it would prevent a lot on the back end.
That and better cameras. We're not allowed to use better cameras because the program that the insurance makes us use only has so much storage space.
Uh-huh.
So we have to use real old cameras. I mean, we're looking like 2000s cameras.
Really?
So all
Take
the
pictures of everything.
are just terrible pictures of the car. So they claim we damaged something, and what can you do about it? Because picture's too bad.
Hmm.
So then we get a lot of customers like that too. It's a pain in the butt.
Dang.
So I'll see to it that my car is perfect.
You'll get what you want if you complain.
I used to work there, dude. I know what I'm gonna get. It looks fucking good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just
Not at all.
when it's the first time people take a real good look at their cars, all of a sudden there's lots of issues.
It's always the stupid shit like a bump in the paint or something.
Mm-hmm.
What is this in the middle of my hood? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
We get that a lot too.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
That was their. We didn't paint that part. And then they're complaining about it. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
you just haven't looked at your car before.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Back to topic.
Can we get to it? It's fucking venison over here.
He lived.
You're
Still.
right. He's still a deer.
Or he's dead.
In which case, he's venison.
Yep.
All right. So, original reason why we had you on tonight is because we kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about real estate, real estate and investments in general. So,
Mhm.
with real estate, we've talked about the 1% gross rent multiplier.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you look for when you're looking at a home, analyzing a home? Like, do you look at the area? Do you look kind of like what's happening? Comps?
Yeah. So, first of all, I like to kind of like have a gauge of why people are there. Like, what are they there for? Are they there for school? Like, is it a college town?
Which
Is it?
Harriman's becoming, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple campuses coming out there.
Oh, no
Peter,
kidding.
Peter last week told us.
Cool.
Said they've got a UVU and a
Slick.
Slick
Oh,
campus
nice.
coming
Cool.
up in Harriman. Anyway, sorry.
Well, so what? Why are people coming there, and what's going to keep them there, or what's going to keep the rent coming in? So look for colleges, look for industry, look for shipping hubs, or like. So when we were looking down in Florida, we were also looking in Texas and a few other places. And my thought about Florida was, when we were looking, specifically when we were looking there, all of Orlando and the areas surrounding Orlando were still about 20% below pre-2008 prices. and all of the areas around the state, around the edges of the state, were already back up to pre-crash rates, or even 20% higher. So it was like, okay, so everywhere around this has already appreciated again. They happen to be doing a whole bunch of infrastructure work in Orlando and in that area. And then our thought was, well, what's gonna drive not only the prices, but what's going to keep rent high in the area? And with the Florida ones specifically, it was like, well, you got a lot of baby boomers that are retiring, and so over the next 15 years, everybody wants to move to Florida. Either they want to move there permanently, or they want to be a snowbird, which a snowbird, you guys know what a snowbird is. And so, and just for the audience, the audience, a snowbird is somebody who lives in a northern region in the summertime, and then they want to go to warm weather like Arizona or Florida in the summertime. Excuse me, in the wintertime.
Okay.
So they call them snowbirds. Anyway, so we're thinking, well, I feel like real estate is going to be hot in Florida for a good 15 years because of the, if nothing else, because of the baby boomers that are retiring like crazy. And then when we looked at that area and started talking to people down there, it was like, holy crap. So this is like undervalued by about 20% at least, from everything else around it. And it just seemed like a good fit. And the prices of properties was cheap at the time, they were less than $100,000 at the time.
It's not bad.
And we were able to get that 1% multiplier. So it was like, hey, this is a no-brainer. So we went with that instead of, because we looked at Texas, we looked at Florida, and we looked at Memphis at the time, and decided of those three, Florida is like a no-brainer.
And when you say we, is it you and the wife? Is it you and the real estate agent? Okay.
No, me and the wife.
Okay.
And so we went with those. So I'm looking for why, like I said, what are people there for? What's going to keep them there? What's going to keep the rent flowing? Mm-hmm. And then also, besides that 1% gross rent multiplier, I'm also looking for, there's a bell curve. If you can imagine the shape of a bell, mm-hmm. right? It goes up and then down the other side. So there's a bell curve of properties on the low end, the very, very low end, on the left side of the bell, if you will, if you can imagine it this way, is going to be apartment buildings. People who live in apartments. And then just above that is going to be entry-level single-family homes. And that goes up the bell curve a little ways, and then you get into the median-priced homes. Median-priced is going to be kind of midway to, let's say 2/3 up the bell curve, up to the, up to maybe the other side. And then you got the high-end homes, and then the ultra-high as you come back down the bell. So looking at that, it's like, well, we had just gone through 2008, or we'd, the wife and I had seen what took place there. And so it's like, okay, when the economy's doing great, everybody's moving from apartments up into single-family properties. When shit hits the fan, people come down from the high-end homes and the median-priced homes. They don't want to go back into apartments because they're used to having their own home, their own yard, and everything like that. So they come back down to that same demographic. So it's like, no matter what the economy is looking like, there's always a demand for this home. Mm-hmm. So because of that, you're going to get higher rents because it's just high demand, right? Mm-hmm. What is it? Supply and demand. So you're going to get the highest rent per square foot. Besides apartments, apartment buildings are just absolutely phenomenal. But that's a whole different ballpark because you're talking about commercial real estate, and we can get into that. But as far as like controllable assets where somebody can get into it for, $20,000, $30,000, the entry level single family homes are incredible because you can lock it up and rent it out. So we're looking for location. We're looking for, that entry level single family home. The price point in Salt Lake is going to be a lot different than it is in Florida, and that's going to be a lot different than it is in Memphis, Tennessee, or anywhere, or New York for that matter. Mm-hmm. It's just, and so, but still, that particular priced home, or that that specific niche there is always going to be in demand, no matter if it's a recession or a booming economy. So, I like that because then we always have an exit strategy. The first strategy is to buy and hold and rent, but we always have an exit strategy. Mm-hmm. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
Answers a little bit of my question of what, like, if you're investing in you, because just looking on the market, there's so many different things like condos, and then you look at like townhomes, and then family homes. What is the big difference between all those things? You kind of like told us a little bit of why you like single family homes, right? Mm-hmm. Like that kind of median area. But like what apartments and then condos and townhomes kind of be on the left side of the bell curve like you were describing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would be just, I guess, just to the left of single family properties.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, to be honest with you, where the millennials are at and what's happening in, with the not the millennials necessarily, but the younger generations coming up, they care less about property. And so I actually think condos and townhomes would probably be a great investment. Because, for a long time, because you got a whole generation or two that could really give a crap less about property, about land.
Yeah.
And it's all about the house. It's about, hey, what's going to work for me and my family? I don't want the maintenance of anything else. And so I actually think that, condos and townhomes would probably be a sweet deal.
Do you think they're easier to get into? Like,
price-wise, yeah.
Start with?
Yeah, for sure, price-wise.
Okay.
I still see, like, the lowest ones I see nowadays are 300.
Yeah.
Condos. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like
in
3
Utah?
to 500. Yeah, in Utah.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason we bought in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Because at the same time we were looking there, the same, like the identical home here in Utah was double the price.
Mm-hmm. I heard that Florida is just outrageous these days, though.
It is.
With the price, too.
It is.
Which is
we
great.
got it at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were buying those homes. We were buying the homes for, like I said, under $100,000. They were $92,000 to $97,000 is what we bought all four of them for.
And now they're worth, what, 300, 500?
No, probably high 200s.
Fucking crazy.
Hell yeah.
But, I mean, still, here's something you got to realize, though. This is so freaking cool about real estate. Now, here's a disclaimer. First of all, nothing I say can be taken as investment advice. I don't give investment advice, period. Number two, real estate is certainly not for everybody. And I'll tell you a horror story that, like a case in point, horror story, because a lot of people hear all this wonderful stuff about real estate and they're like, oh yeah, I want to be a real estate investor. Well, how bad do you want it? Because there are rules to every game you play, or there's, a game goes a certain way. The game of investing in real estate, shit happens. Mm-hmm. So we just had one of our properties in Memphis get destroyed to the tune of $10,000. Well, that wiped out the cash flow, not only for that property, if it was just that property, that wiped out the cash flow for that property for probably 2 years. The net cash flow, the profit, gone. So you know, if you're going to play the game of real estate, it isn't all roses and sunshine. Is the point I'm making.
Right.
Okay. All right. So back to the roses and sunshine.
Back to why it's great.
So let's just think about those 4 properties down in Florida. So we come into those properties with 20% down, right? So quite literally, we're into 4 properties. The prices were between $92,000 and $97,000, like I said. So that means we're coming in with about $20,000 per property. So we quite literally put down $80,000. Okay. Right, like immediately when we come in with $80,000, and let's just take those all 4 of the properties cumulatively. So we come in with $80,000. We immediately control a $400,000 asset.
Mm-hmm.
We get to appreciate a $400,000 asset. We get to rent a $400,000 asset. We get to depreciate a $400,000 asset.
Taxes.
Yeah, for tax write-off.
Mm-hmm.
We get to, you know, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody is making, and the renter is making a payment on a $400,000 asset. That's assuming there's no appreciation. Well, then rents go up because with real estate it tracks the economy, and so as inflation happens, rents go up. So now our rents are, well, they're not quite doubled yet, but they're definitely they're definitely 1.5 times what they were already. So you figure the rents, our rents where we were renting, let's just say about $4,000 a month, just from those 4 properties. Now our rent is $6,000 a month, but our payments didn't change, right? Because we've tied up OPM for 30 years, other people's money, or AKA the bank's money.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we came in with $20,000 or cumulatively $80,000. So the bank can't change the terms. As long as we're making the payment, they can't change the terms. So their price or our expenses to the bank are fixed. So then as rents increase, ideally, I mean, really what we're all we have to do is outpace taxes and insurance. Taxes and insurance have gone crazy down in Florida, like insane. But thankfully, the rents that we're getting are still outpacing those. So our profits continue to go up. And then appreciation happened. So now those 4 properties that we originally acquired that were worth about $400,000, now they're worth $1 million. Because I said they're in the high 200s, each of them. There's 4 of them, times that by 4, that's $1 million, or maybe even 1.1 million. So if we sold them, we'd get $1.1 million, less the mortgage, the original mortgage. And how much did that cost us?
$80,000.
$80,000.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody else is making the payment, and because we're cash flowing those. We source the funds for those homes from within our life insurance policies. So essentially, the way I look at it is, we're not made whole until the loans to acquire those property have been paid back to us, not the bank. Not the bank's money, not the 80%, but the 20% we had to come down with. So we sit here in cash flow, and once our $20,000 per property or $80,000 total has been recouped, then I figure, okay, now we're, now that property is cash flowing. Before that, it's sitting there, it's just paying us back.
Mm-hmm.
So once our loan is paid back on those properties, now how much do we have out on those deals?
Zero. Because
our money never left, because it was sourced from a life insurance policy. We borrowed the life insurance company's money to acquire those properties. The renter paid that back. Our money never left. Our $80,000 sat in those policies, continuing to grow. And yeah, so we end up with zero out of pocket on those deals.
The whole time.
Yeah. Yep.
So are you gonna keep renting them, or are you going to sell them?
Oh, I'll just keep
For-
renting them.
Yeah.
I don't. I've got to have a really good reason to part with a property.
Uh-huh.
After you parted with your first one in Kearns.
Yes, after we parted with the first one in Kearns, it was like, well, I was young and dumb. We were just barely building this house, and that was before I even thought about owning real estate as an investment. But about 2 weeks after we sold it, it was like, holy crap. I could have rented it right then and there for more than my payment. And, that's when it clicked, and I was like...
More than your house payment?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, the house payment was like $700, I think, at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have rented it for $900. I could have been cash positive 20-something years ago.
Shit.
On an asset that would be now worth, 4 times, 5 times what I paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, oh my gosh, kicked myself in the ass. That's one of those lessons learned,
Mm-hmm.
You learn by mistakes. So our mistake was selling that home. It was a great property. Could have been cash flowing like everything right now, and actually by now, 20 years later, it had been free and clear anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So it would have just been 100%, well, not 100% profit, because you still have taxes and insurance, but massive amounts of profit.
Huh.
So back to the house that you said you'd be paying $10,000 worth of damages. What is that going to look like, and what's the process of going through and fixing it? Is that coming out of your pocket? Are you having new renters get in there and paying for it? What's that going to look like?
Yeah. I don't manage any of my own properties. I have property managers for everything. So in this case, the property manager went in there. They assessed it. They had their contractors come in, and they quoted me $10,000. They had just destroyed everything. They even ripped off the AC unit and everything. It was bad.
How the shit?
It was caged. They I guess cut through the cage and ripped off the AC unit.
What the shit?
Freaking crazy.
Drugs.
At that point, you just want to sue them, go after them.
Yeah, but the money that you'd spend in
legal fees,
and
you wouldn't get that much back from them.
Yeah. Even claiming it on insurance, it's like the deductible, after the deductible and everything like that, it's like it's not even worth it.
Yeah, and then your insurance increases.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, so it was just like, screw it. So the management company went in there. They had it completely redone. Took them a few weeks. So between renters was about a month.
Which is an extra $1,000 plus.
Yeah,
Or
that's
right
an extra
around
$1,000 of no cash flow. But and so basically what the agreement is, rather than coming out of pocket $10,000, they're just going to take it out of future rents. So basically, I'm not going to see cash flow from that property or the other two that they manage until that $10,000 is paid back.
That's so fucked up. Ooh.
Yeah, I wanted to punch some people.
Oh yeah, not least of all the property managers, because they should have seen that shit.
Yeah, I had words with them.
Good.
And now they're going in and inspecting the property twice a year.
Good.
All of the properties there. Because when I saw the pictures, it was like, okay, this isn't just somebody being an asshat and destroying a home because they're pissed off and getting evicted.
Yeah.
This is
Parts of it would still look nice.
This is neglect and abuse that's been happening for a long time. So I asked the manager, I'm like, what the heck? Why, how has it gone on this long? And they're like, well, this and this, bullshit. Get in my fucking houses and look at them.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are having abuse, get them the F out right now. This is bullshit.
Yeah, what do I pay you for?
Yeah, I was pissed. So, anyway, we have it. So they're going in twice a year now.
Good.
That's good.
Wild deal.
So you play with real estate. What other good investments have you made, and then what are some bad investments you've seen come across your table that were bad for you, we'll say.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, not investment advice.
Yeah. So syndicates have been really fun. Syndicates are a little bit different play where you're
Thank you.
thank you for
The
sharing.
listeners appreciate it.
Syndicates are a little bit different in that with the single family property, like I said, you come in with $30,000 or whatever, and you can control the house. Syndicates are a little bit different. A syndicate, you might drop in $100,000. 10 of you might get together, drop in $100,000 a piece, so you have $1 million, and then they'll take that and make that a down payment on maybe a $5 million project. So basically, you're being able to be a part of a lot larger project than you could otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. They're a step removed. So like the single family properties, at any time, Holly and I can say, hey, we're done with all this stuff. Let's sell it all next month. And we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Syndicates are a little bit more involving in that when you get into a syndicate, you figure the money is going to be tied up anywhere from, let's say, 5 to 10 years, depending on the syndicate. You might get 3 years. So let's say 3 to 10 years typically, depending on the syndicate. And when you put your $100,000 in, as an example, it's there until the time is up, assuming everything goes right. So it's the money can be there for a lot longer. The cash flow can be fantastic, or it can be non-existent. So you really want to do your due diligence. Not all syndicates are the same. You're a step removed in that in that example, each of us are putting $100,000 in. We're 1/10 partner. And typically one of the partners is running the deals. So you're giving up control that way. It's not like you can't just cash it in anytime you want. You can't sell it. I suppose if everything's possible, I guess. Where there's a will, there's a way. But generally, you're tying your money up
Mm-hmm.
and putting it in somebody else's control. So you better know who you're dealing with. You better trust that they're going to do what's right. You got to be, all that stuff. They generally give you a prospectus, which basically says, hey, this is a projection of what we think it will do. And
what past things have done.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're working with somebody who you trust, preferably with a good track record, preferably a good long track record,
Mm-hmm.
Or at least a proven track record. And yeah.
So are these going to be like apartment buildings or
Yeah.
land for trailer homes?
Yeah, it
All
could
of
be.
the above.
Huh?
Yeah, all the above. It could be apartment units. It could be hotels. It can be trailer parks. It can be life insurance. So there's some syndicates out there where you're actually buying other people's life insurance policies, and then when they die, you cash out. Called a life settlement. There's a lot of things that can be syndicates.
And do all syndicates require one to be an accredited investor?
Generally, yes. There are some exceptions.
Wait, do you want to say what an accredited investor is?
Yep. An accredited investor is somebody who has $1 million of net worth outside of their primary residence, or making, I think it's like, $250,000 as a single individual, $350,000 as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's still the criteria. So generally speaking, every syndicate will have you sign off that you are an accredited investor. There is typically an exception to the rule, which basically says the syndicate can allow a certain percentage of the investors to be non-accredited.
Mm.
So, but that's you're lucky if you find that, because most of them are just like, hey, screw it, we're not dealing with anybody who's not accredited. It's too risky.
Interesting.
Yeah, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, they've established rules to basically protect the small guy from investment failure.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Well, yeah, that's the premise of it.
Right, yeah.
Um,
And I'm sure it does protect some. But for those wanting to invest in things, it makes it really fucking difficult sometimes.
Yeah, it can be looked at multiple ways. Yeah, I suppose it can be a good thing, but at the same time, it almost seems like investing into a lot of those deals is almost like a good old boys club, where they're geared towards the wealthy getting more wealthy. Because it's like, well, first of all, most people don't have $100,000 that they can just throw at an investment.
Right.
And a lot of the syndicates have minimums, like one that we're looking at right now. It's got a $50,000 minimum. So if you don't have $50,000, don't bother.
What's the highest minimum deal you've seen?
Geez, probably $250,000.
Jesus.
But there's a lot bigger. Well,
Oh,
actually, that's not true. That's not true. Some of the investments that I was trying to get into, and this is kind of more of an institutional thing, but it's the same type of deal. So some of the IPO investments that I was looking at,
Oh, yeah.
the same thing, had to be an accredited investor to even, they won't even look at you unless you're an accredited investor. But if you're an accredited investor, then you've got to have a certain amount of assets under management. Otherwise, you can't participate in a lot of the investments that come along. So a lot of the IPOs, a lot of the big name IPOs that you guys would recognize, they basically said, if you don't have, $1 million of assets under management with that firm, then they won't even invest your money in this particular deal. And those particular deals happen to be the ones that are moonshots, or basically,
Of course.
double in value the second they go public. It's like, oh my gosh.
I remember you telling me one that was like, you got to have a minimum of 10 million assets under management.
Okay, maybe
For this one. Just
yeah.
like, holy cow.
Yeah, so I couldn't remember when you asked me before. I couldn't remember exactly, but it kind of depends on the.
I forgot about those.
Yeah, depends on the deal, whether it's a syndicate or whether it's some of those things.
What is IPO?
Initial public offering. So basically when a stock actually hits the stock market.
Right.
Generally, most of the gains have already been made.
By the time it actually comes out on the stock market, everyone's made their money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, you got to watch it, see what it does,
Yeah.
and then get into it.
And hope you make little piddly gains.
Yep.
So that's what I'm talking about. The SEC rule is supposedly there to protect the little guy from losing money, but at the same time, it also protects him from actually making any gains that can build real wealth. And the purpose of having the accredited investor, or having the accreditation, is to say, hey, you know what? If you've got $1 million of net worth, and first of all, you probably know what you're doing investment wise. And second of all, if you lose $30,000 or $100,000 on a deal, it's not gonna break you. It's not gonna, make your family destitute. Where with a little guy, so I can see the rules. Does that make It's like, okay, that makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, well, you got to get creative on how to become an accredited investor.
Yeah.
So like for us it was due to real estate and the values of real estate and how they've shot up. It's like, became accredited rather quickly that way.
Mm-hmm. So one might say the first million's the hardest.
Oh, for sure.
After that, it's just gets easier.
Yeah. You get a system down, it's like, oh, okay. Just rinse and repeat.
So what are some bad investments you've seen come across your table? Or things you've invested in and didn't appreciate or whatever?
Boy, how much time do you have? No. Personally, I like to stick with primarily cash flowing investments. So I like real estate, cash flowing real estate. I like syndicates. I like loans, personal or hard money loans, as long as it's backed by an asset and you have a good contract. I like those too. Things that I've not been overjoyed about is stock purchases.
Mm-hmm.
Made a few stock purchases and they just either don't perform or underperform. To me, they're very risky. They're a lot more risky than real estate. They're a lot more risky than some of this other stuff because I don't control the company. I have no say in whether it goes up or down. So to me, like personally held real estate would be a very stable, very safe investment. Syndicates would be a little bit more removed, which means I give up a little bit of control, therefore taking on a little more risk. And then above that would be loans, just because, hey, people can default, and what recourse do you have without a tremendous legal battle? And then above that would be, the most risky would be stock investments. Well, let me back up a little bit. Yeah, stock investments would be higher up on the tier than that, which means I have less and less control and I'm taking on more and more risk. Probably the most risky of all is 401ks and IRAs, in my opinion, which is what everybody is told to do. To me, that's insane, because not only are you investing in companies that you likely don't even know the names of the companies, let alone what makes them profitable or lose money, and you have absolutely zero control of it, but you're also getting in bed with the government, and the government can change the rules on how much money they want at any time for any reason. And they do. So it's like, yeah. So I personally, I do not have 401ks and IRAs, and personally, I wouldn't want one. Not when I've got other options available to me.
Oh yeah, much higher return options too.
Yes. Yeah. Well, even I would rather put money in a life insurance policy than in a 401k.
Oh, for sure.
And a life insurance policy is a long-term savings vehicle. A 401k is considered an investment. So with an investment, you would expect a higher rate of return. Mm-hmm. I would still rather put money in a life insurance policy. At least I can count on it being there.
Yep. With the 401k, did you say you'd be investing in other companies?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, how 401k works is you throw money into this fund.
Uh-huh.
The government manages it, or they hire a manager to manage your money.
That's generally like your Fidelity or is it money manager. The government doesn't.
Government doesn't manage it.
No,
Okay.
Government doesn't manage it.
Right.
Wall Street. It's Wall Street.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, that was, they're basically, you pay them to manage your money.
Yeah.
And they generally make their fees off of like transactions. They don't make their fees off of your profits. They make fees off of
Your balance.
Your balance. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you put money in 401ks and IRAs, the money manager is basically going to ask you, are you conservative?
How much risk do you want?
Yeah, how much risk do you want? Like very little risk all the way up to aggressive risk. And then all they do, the company that they work with, let's say it's Fidelity or whoever's putting, Bloomberg or whatever, whoever's putting the called a mutual fund together is basically selecting, let's say anywhere from 100 to 1,000 different companies, and saying, hey, we're going to invest, like this is an aggressive model. It's you're going to spread your $100 out into these 1,000 companies, and you're going to own a tiny little piece of each of these little companies. That's how that works.
Gotcha.
And so, like most of the quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes here, financial advisors have no idea what the companies are. They just say, oh, it's, I'm going to select button number 1 for conservative, or button number 4 over here for aggressive. And button number 4 ties you into these 1,000 companies or 100 companies or however many that make up this aggressive portfolio. And what those companies are doing and what makes them profitable or crash or whatever, like, who the hell knows?
What the fuck?
Yeah. And the person that does that here I am air quoting again, financial advisor, just sits there like you said, Noah. They sit there and collect a fee on trades and or your balance every year, whether you win or lose. So
That's weird.
Yeah, it's insane. It's a conflict of interest. They get paid no matter what. You're fucked.
Yeah. Then after all of it, you just get taxed to hell too.
Yeah.
With
Once you're of
401k,
age,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we've talked about this, but there's 3 positions in a 401k or an IRA. You're one of them. The government's in there, and the money manager or the company that it's like the government's guaranteed to get their money. You're going to pay taxes now or later or when you die. So they're guaranteed. The money manager is guaranteed, or the fidelity or whatever, because they're going to take their percentage of fee every single year, whether you win or lose. So you put up the capital, you take the risk, and you get what's left over. Hard no for me.
Yeah, fuck no.
And then an IRA isn't much better.
You
You just put after-tax dollars in there instead of pre-tax dollars.
Not necessarily.
And you can... Oh, go ahead.
So a 401k is a company-sponsored retirement plan.
Mm-hmm.
An IRA is an individual retirement account. It's the same thing. Now, and they're both pre-tax.
Right. It's
Now,
a Roth IRA that's after tax.
The Roth, yeah, the
and
Roth
self-managed and all that jazz.
not necessarily, but it can be.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have an IRA that's self-managed too.
401k self-managed?
Under the right circumstances, yes. Not very frequently though.
Interesting.
Unless it's a business owner funding his own 401k and happen to,
Mm-hmm.
then he's got a lot more say. But generally, like your big companies that they work with, your 401k options are like, select select investment portfolio 1 through 4, and that's what it is. But, here again, I think we've talked about this. At the end of the day, it comes down to how many people do you know, or how many people have you ever heard of that have become wealthy because they invested in a 401k or an IRA?
0.
I've asked this to hundreds of clients. Not one person has ever told me that they've ever heard of anybody or know of anybody who has become wealthy because they invested in a 401k or an IRA. Why the fuck would you do it?
Mm-hmm.
If I ask the same question about real estate, you guys know anybody who became wealthy in real estate?
There's tons of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about investing in stocks?
Tons of them.
What about starting businesses or investing in businesses?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So why in the hell is everybody told to put money in 401ks and IRAs? And I'll tell you why. It's a poor man's play. Because the benefit, this is a benefit and a drawback. If you're disciplined, if you want to take control of your finances, it's a drawback. 401ks and IRAs lock money away from you. But if you're not disciplined, it can be a tremendous blessing. Because 401ks and IRAs lock money away from you. So it's like, so for a lot of people who aren't disciplined, it's the only money they're going to have
Mm-hmm.
if they're lucky enough to, actually put into one.
I wonder what the average 401k worth is by the time they're of retirement age.
The average, look it up. It's sickening,
Pitifully low.
pitifully low.
So, what's the major differences between like a Roth IRA, and then a 401k? Because they function pretty much the same, right?
Well, so you've got an IRA and a 401k that function very similarly in that one is company sponsored, the other one is individually created.
Oh my God. You weren't kidding.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Let me see. It is. Oh, where did it go? It was just here. Hold on. Okay. It says according to Fidelity, the average 401k balance for the 60 to 69 age group is $182,000
Fuck that shit.
For their retirement?
for their retirement,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, just end your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy a 4-wheeler and you're broke.
See,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
it gets worse.
yeah, they've got average balances for all age groups. It says by 25, it's $6,000. 25 to 34, you've got about 37 grand. Let me see if I can actually click into this. And
Well,
find
what's the average retirement age? Is it 62? Or is it 60?
Right now, full retirement age, what you consider full retirement age, or when you're eligible for your full Social Security, is 67.
And then you'll get just over 100K?
Well, if you've been diligent in putting money in one.
So the average balance and the median balance is different. So that tells me that most balances are very small.
Yeah.
So the median balance, meaning the exact middle of the balances for the 50 to 59 age group, is $62,000.
And that's before taxes?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
That's what's in the account, and then you get taxes that gets taken out at your possibly higher bracket. And then the average 401k balance for 50 to 59 is about $200,000. So that means some people's 401ks do really good, but most people's do garbage.
Well, that's because, so back to your question, Zabe. You asked what's the difference between, you asked what's the difference between a 401k and a Roth IRA.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of differences between those two, but let's start with the differences between a 401k and an IRA. Both of them are pre-tax. So traditional IRA, traditional 401k, both of them are pre-tax. A 401k, you can actually put a lot more in than an IRA. An IRA has a limit of, I think it's about $6,000 or something like that.
A year?
A year
What? The fuck?
into an IRA, and that's whether it's a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. It's about $6,000. In a 401k, you can actually contribute a heck of a lot more. And so some the purpose of a 401k was actually to compensate highly valuable employees. It just morphed and changed to where it's a retirement plan. It was never intended to be used as a retirement plan. It was supposed to be used as a compensation plan for highly valued employees. It just went to shit because, everything the government touches seems to do that. But anyway,
True.
It's just true. So 401ks you can contribute a heck of a lot more into. IRAs can be either pre-tax or Roth. 401ks, you can actually have a Roth component where your employer is contributing pre-tax money and you're contributing post-tax money. So when it comes out, a portion of it would be taxable and a portion of it would be untaxable. Make sense?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of differences. And then an IRA you generally have more control over, more say. A lot of them are self-directed, which means you get to say what the investments are. A lot of the 401ks are the presets where it's like, hey, you have these few options that you can choose from. And then And then contributions in retirement, whether you're still working and stuff like that, there's different rules around 401ks and IRAs in there too. So there are a number of differences. But to keep it simple, it's like a 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement plan. An IRA is an individual retirement plan.
You guys want to hear some sad numbers? So have you heard the 4% rule, where they recommend once you're of retirement age, only pull 4% of your retirement account every year to so that you can keep it into like all the way to till you're dead, essentially, and it'll be sustaining. So following the 4% rule, the average balance of 401ks would produce $10,200 in annual income.
What the hell?
And while the median amount, so the exact middle of the road, that $62,000 401k would produce about $3,200 per year in income.
How can you do anything with that? Anything?
You can't.
Don't.
You can't.
They're probably all.
You
on
have to have a
welfare
job.
and Stamps.
Yeah, you
Why
have
they
to have
all
a job
fucking work at Walmart.
and Social Security and all that jazz.
So the average
And have other people
is
take
everything
care of you.
divided by
By how many there are? Yeah.
Okay, and the median's just the middle.
Yes.
Okay, so what's
And then the average was
So
what?
the average is $10,000, $10,200.
A
what's
year.
Social
A year.
Security
That's
then?
counting the people that are able to put in millions of dollars a year, right? Or people
Yeah,
that make
yeah.
a ton of money.
That counts everyone, and that's the average. Everything added up.
Okay.
But the median, the middle of the road, where most people are going to be, is that 3,200 range per year. Or, the average Joe is probably going to be like 5,000 a year.
Yeah.
A year.
A year.
A year.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, question for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is talking about, you can do that and Social Security. Do you know when you're not eligible for Social Security?
What do you mean?
Or are you ever not eligible for Social Security? I've heard
Like
if
an
you
age
make
limit?
too much, then you're
Oh.
not eligible, which is bullshit if you've been paying in it your whole life, by the way.
I haven't heard that yet.
Okay.
But
I might
they're-
do some research on it.
So I believe they're looking at it right now, and it's called means testing. Basically, if you don't need the money, you don't get the money.
Every man, according to his ability, every man gets according to his need.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty
You'll
much
be
that
happy
basis.
with nothing.
You will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. It would be far simpler. Like, you guys heard that they just hired 87, or they're looking to hire 87,000 IRS agents.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
You know what they could do? They could institute a flat tax.
Easy. 3%. Boom. All income. 2%.
Even if they did 5%,
Mm-hmm.
even if they did 10%, okay,
It's way better than what we have now.
way better. It's simple. You like everybody could do their own taxes.
Mm-hmm.
It would be so fucking simple.
Yep.
Like I'm not even shitting. My last tax return was, I think 170 pages.
Holy shit.
It's like,
Mine was simple, and it was close to, I think, 20-ish pages, I'll bet you.
yeah,
There
it's
were so
it's
many.
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if they would just institute a flat tax and say, hey, look, here's a flat tax.
Yeah.
I'm a
It
big
would-
fan of sales tax. Just make a sales tax. Then even illegals can't get out of it.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
agree.
And no
Income tax
IRS.
is theft,
Mm-hmm.
straight up theft. Sales tax,
Just,
all day long.
just make a higher sales tax, and then no one has to deal with anything because you can't not spend money.
Well, and if you want a yacht, you pay the tax on a yacht,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're barely affording groceries, you pay tax on the groceries.
Mhm.
So you're going to pay tax according to your according to what you can spend,
Mm-hmm.
your ability to spend. So that would straighten out the inconsistencies, the injustices in our
Mhm.
tax system.
You wouldn't have to do tax returns?
You wouldn't have to do tax returns, yeah.
You'd
Unless
also-
unless you had write-offs or whatever. But even then,
Why would you have write-offs?
you wouldn't need a write-off.
Wouldn't need them.
Yep.
You'd also, like illegal immigrants and stuff, you wouldn't have to worry about them not contributing Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody has to.
And get rid of Social Security. That's the biggest bullshit. Reagan said something along, like, clear back then. He said something along the lines of, if an individual were to take it upon themselves to put into a life insurance policy X amount of dollars over X amount of time, they would, and it was some minuscule amount, but they said you would have $266 a month in income for the rest of your life. If you give that same amount of money to the government, they're going to give you what was it? It was about half. It was $138 a month in Social Security.
Sounds about right.
And if
Not anymore.
yeah,
It's less
yeah,
now.
yeah, it's less now. But and on that same token, not only would you have a double the income for the remainder of your life, but also when you died, the family would get a death benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just get the fucking government out of our homes, out of our wallets, and yeah, let us live a peaceful life.
Amen.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's nonsense. Yeah. Anyway, you were asking about sucky investments. Anything that sounds too good to be true is likely too good to be true. Like, don't fall for it.
There's a hot crazy scale with investments, just like women.
I was just gonna throw out a yo mama joke. She's crazy, amazing, hot, and an incredible woman.
But
I lucked out.
Yeah. Unicorn.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, yeah, if it sounds too good to be true, if they're saying, oh, you can get, just unreasonable returns, yeah, don't fall for it.
Any ad you see on YouTube basically saying you're going to make 20 grand in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit.
MLS, the pyramid schemes.
Those are MLMs,
Oh, LMA.
multi-level marketing.
Right, yes.
They have a softer name for them now. It's called network marketing. It's like you ever heard of an applesauce enema? It's still an enema, but it's softer now.
What? Fuck, okay.
I've
either
never
way,
heard
yeah.
Applesauce enema?
Never.
Yeah, it's basically somebody trying to spoon feed you bullshit.
Mm.
Anyway, I personally avoid, like the plague, anything that has to do with multi-level marketing. You can make a lot of money. People can do really well, but
How many people you can recruit under you?
yeah, and I'm not about that bullshit. It's nonsense. The people at the top of the pyramid make ass loads, and everybody else is just bottom feeders.
Mm-hmm.
So
What's the value they create? Like, what do they even do?
they take good products, double or triple the price, and then give everybody a subscription.
That's it.
Well, essentially, because you have to pay to be in one,
Yeah.
right? You have, and it's a subscription because you're paying monthly or whatever, X amount. Generally, they sell really, really good products, high quality products. Whether it's,
doTERRA.
yeah,
It's multi-level marketing.
is it?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mind buying the products. I don't like paying ridiculous prices. So if I can find an alternative that's the same quality, I will go with that.
Gotcha.
Just because I'm just not a big fan of them. But it's a great way to make money if you want to get in and have zero responsibility. Like what I mean is like, they say you own your own business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true, but you have no overhead other than your subscription. So a lot of people do really well in them, but I'm personally not a fan of them at all.
Gotcha.
We got burnt in an investment that was too good to be true. We heard all kind, it was going to be just ridiculous rates of return, no time flat, and Yeah, and we lost that money, but it was a good learning lesson.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Yeah, fuck that noise.
Fuck them kids, bro.
It's the people that we all invested, right?
No,
Oh, well. Those
Them
guys
too?
Different learning lesson.
no, I learned my lesson on that one when I was 20.
So that's the time to do it, I guess.
How much did you lose on that one? And what was it?
30,000. It was
Like 20?
Adjusted for inflation, it's like 50K.
it'd be a lot more than that.
Uh,
It was, let's see, we were, if I remember correctly, we were lending money. Let's see. It was an offshore account that we were putting the money into.
oh boy.
Oh yeah, there's so many red flags.
Well, now.
Well, yeah. Hindsight is always 20/20.
Mm-hmm.
But we were creating an offshore account so we could put the money into, and then from there it was being pooled and being lent to a country
What the fuck?
for their, I don't remember, it was a short-term loan to a country, and the returns were going to be astronomical, and it was going to be safe and a sure thing, and so fucking many red flags. It's just like, I look at it now and it's just like, yeah, my gosh, I deserve to lose that $30,000. It's so fucking stupid.
Well, it made all the difference, right?
It did. I mean, that started, that started my financial education.
And now you watch for red flags. And you've taught us how to watch for red flags, and we've had our own stupid investments, and now we have extra red flags we watch for.
Sure.
Just like get smarter and smarter, and then you get to the point where you can sniff shit real quick.
Yeah. Well, so, other bad investments for me,
Mm-hmm.
like even like cryptos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, what I consider a bad investment is something that I'm not educated on.
And it's not cash flowing.
Well, if I'm not educated on how I can make predictable, consistent profits,
Mm-hmm.
it's too risky.
Yeah.
Or it's more risky than I care for. It's a bad investment for me.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, cryptos are a bad investment. Most stocks are a bad investment. Just because I'm not educated enough, I can't have predictable profits.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather put that money elsewhere. Now, we do have a minuscule amount of cryptos and a small amount of stocks. But as soon as I can, I will sell those at a profit and move that money elsewhere. I'll probably always dabble. There's a certain gratification or a certain human need. Like humans, we need predictability when it comes to where we're going to lay our head and the food that we're going to eat and our family and the relationships and things like that. We need, and I say that word intentionally, there's a need there, a human need for some stability in those aspects. There's also a need for, what is it called? Like unpredictability,
Mm-hmm.
risk.
Chaos and order
Risk.
is how I've heard it put too.
Yeah. And so, I'll probably always throw a teeny bit of money in moonshot potentials,
Mm-hmm.
like crypto or stocks or things, It's just play money that I wouldn't intentionally flush it down the toilet, but if I happen to lose it, it doesn't, no skin off my back.
Yeah.
Because it's just kind of fun. It's fun to keep it all, Because a lot of the investments that I do are very, I would call them boring. Mm-hmm. They're just consistent. They're going to do what they're going to do, and they're very mostly predictable. And so to have a little bit of risk out there. It's just like, well, throw $100 here, $1,000 here, and no skin if it disappears.
Yeah.
Right on.
Gotta have those gambling chips on the table.
Gambling. Yeah. I don't care. I still don't care to gamble though. In like the traditional sense.
Traditional way.
It's not that fun.
No, I don't think so either.
I've
All I
never
get
enjoyed it.
worried about the whole time is I'm losing money. I'm like,
Oh,
this,
see?
I can't make any money. What's going on?
And that's then for sure avoid it. Like if I was to go gamble, I would designate a specific amount of money and know that I'm going to flush that down the toilet.
That's what I do.
And if I happen to walk out the door with anything, I would be tickled Pete. Yeah, I'd be happy.
Yeah,
I think
that's
betting's hella fun. Like betting on horse races or like UFC matches is kind of fun.
Oh,
Like
do
you said,
have-
if it's money that you're gonna
is it
throw away.
DraftKings? Do you have DraftKings?
No, I don't have that. I don't like if I'm not watching the sport, I don't care to bet on it.
Okay.
So here's what boggles my mind is gambling is illegal here in Utah, right? Putting money in a 401k or an IRA, to me, is no different. There is no guarantee that you're going to walk away with anything.
And you don't know the outcome. Yeah, it's just
So the difference is just people aren't educated about it,
And
so they don't
the
see it
time
as a
frame?
gamble.
Well, that and it's legal. It's legal to put money in 401k or an IRA, although you have zero control. The rules can change at any time. House always wins. You have zero clue of what you're going to walk away with, if you're going to walk away with anything. But
Right.
but that's legal in Utah. Interesting.
You could even make that argument with the stock market.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
that is fair.
U.S. is a giant casino.
Another thing that I've been burned on before is not having good contracts. Trusting people. So, you guys know me well enough to know that I don't do anything without a contract. I mean, I shouldn't say anything, but any business dealing, there's a contract.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't give a fuck if you're my brother, if you're one of my kids. If it's a business contract, if it's a business deal, it's a contract. Period. So, you and I have some business dealings. We haven't made up the contract yet, but there will be one.
Yeah.
As soon as that one comes to a point where we actually start cash flowing, where it's,
Of course.
then there's going to be a contract made up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely be a part of that.
Yeah, the acquisition of that particular deal. You okay if I talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've
The
talked about it, I think.
Okay. The acquisition of that particular deal hasn't merited a contract yet. Just because of how we are acquiring it. We just paid cash for it. And you and I trust each other explicitly, so it's not.
We have made multiple dealings.
Yeah, but once that project comes to the point where we're either taking money out on it, or we start cash flowing, then we'll establish a contract.
Okay.
Give us an exit strategy. It'll give us,
Everything in writing.
guidelines, terms, everything. Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's a pretty good summation of the bad dealings. And you've already talked about some of the red flags, just like if it's too good to be true,
Yeah.
if it's a safe and surefire thing. What are some other red flags you might think of?
Who you're dealing with. Like I said, trusting people. Trusting the wrong people has burnt me.
For sure.
I've sold cars on the premise that payments were going to come and never did.
What?
Yeah.
So you gave away a car?
Uh-huh.
Did you sign over the title and everything
Yep.
before they finished paying it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's shitty.
Yeah. Stupid as hell.
Yeah.
But live and learn.
Oh, absolutely.
Tuition.
Tuition.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Shit. And by that point, since you signed it over at that point, it's like, can't do anything
I have
now
no recourse.
unless they signed it back.
Yeah, which they
And-
wouldn't.
Right.
Why would they? They're dishonest to begin with.
Yep.
So
Shit.
Fucking car.
yeah. Sold the car. They had the down payment and promised to pay in this
Monthly or
this
whatever.
time. Blah blah blah. You know. Okay. Yeah. Signed it over. There again, I was extremely young and very dumb. And
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, that makes sense. I can trust you. You know.
Yeah. So were you to do that different, you'd sell them the car, they'd get the down payment, you would have a contract saying explicitly if you don't pay for X amount of months, I get the car back, and basically I won't sign the title over until you've paid it off. Something similar to that.
No. I would do something like you pay me cash for the car or you go get financing. I will not sign anything, including letting you have the keys of the car or sign anything until I have cash in hand.
Hmm.
Get lost.
Get lost.
Or
Fair
go
enough.
I don't care. I don't give a fuck who you go borrow the money from, but it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I've got a question. How do you make a contract like legally binding? Because you can't just like type it up and have them sign it, and then they'll be like, "Oh, that's not my signature." What
You get
happens
it
then?
notarized?
Yeah, like how does that? How do you go about doing that?
I haven't had to get it notarized yet.
Just stands up better in court than a spoken handshake agreement, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
say we signed this on this date.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It would, ultimately it would come down to a small claims court probably. You'd have to go after them legally, but basically a contract is a binding agreement that says these are the terms and you've signed an agreement to these terms and I've signed an agreement to these terms. Not every contract is notarized. And, I would venture to say that in the grand scheme of things, very few probably are notarized. But
So-
it's still a contract.
So you can just type it up, basically, like on pages.
Sure.
Just have everybody sign it? And that's
Yeah.
good enough?
Why not?
So don't sign random shit on the street.
No.
I don't sign anything until I know exactly what I'm signing.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
the safety meetings we have at work, they'll have us sign it before they fill out what was in the meeting.
Hell no.
Nope. Yeah. I don't sign shit.
Yeah.
I've learned that lesson the hard way. So
Yeah, I just had a contract presented, and they keep, hey, did you get that contract? Need you to sign it. Need you to sign it. I'm like, I'm going to have another set of eyes on this. Thank you.
Yeah.
When I read through it, I saw some things I wasn't fond of. I'm going to have another set of eyes on it. I'll get back with you.
Life advice: read your contracts.
Oh, hell yeah. Yes.
and
Read
if you
them.
need to have a lawyer read it too.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. Be very, very cautious about any contract you sign.
Oh yeah.
Can fuck you.
Fuck yeah.
I'll bet.
Sweet.
Well, do you have any parting words for the listeners, or was that pretty solid?
Parting words. Yes. Stay in control of your finances. Nobody will care about your money as much as you do. Ever. Don't relinquish control. If you have any sense of discipline, stay in control of your money. If you don't have a sense of discipline, put money in a 401k or an IRA. And either way, save the heck out of save the heck out of money. Like, I recommend people save at least 20 to 30% of their income.
If not more.
At least, yeah, at
Mhm.
least. The unfortunate thing is, the typical financial advice is to put, anywhere up to 10% of your income away. Again, relinquishing control.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in a 401k or an IRA, and hope and pray that you. They don't say it this way. I say it this way. Hope and pray that you can retire someday, and that Social Security is there for you, because your 401k and IRA is going to underperform what they project. It is, just simply because of how they project them. It's actually bullshit. It's a complete lie. But that's a whole different thing. So save at least 20 to 30% of your income, if not more. Like, the more the better, and stay in control of your finances. Become financially free as soon as possible. Don't rely on anything or anybody else to do it for you, because it's not going to happen. And just take life by the horns. Live like nobody else will now, so that later on you can live like nobody else can.
Amen.
I like it.
Thanks for coming on again. We're
Yes,
gonna have
thank
to
you.
start paying you.
Always happy to do it.
All right. Well,
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next week. If all goes well, we've already got another guest lined up, and yeah, see you guys.
Peace out.
All right, see you.